Hi, everyone. Daniel Ramsey here with My Outdesk. Today, we've got another special guest. This is part of a three-part series. So if you haven't seen them all, we're basically showing you guys how to fully integrate a VA into a team with multiple different positions, with multiple different leaders. And it's a very expansive business, meaning multi-state, multifunctional, multi-different types of businesses, all kind of rolled up into one awesomeness. And today, I'm really excited because Beck and I are going to talk, and we're going to go through basically how to actually pull somebody in and make them part of we talked about this, part of the family. And so, Beck, I'm really excited for you. Thanks so much for being here today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited, and we're passionate about mods and our VAs. So yeah.
Some background on the team. First of all, they did thousands of real estate transactions last year. And I really appreciate how integrated their virtual assistants are in their business. So Adam, the owner of the business, he and I met, I want to say 8 or 9 years ago, and we've gotten to kind of interview the main listing coordinator, also the COO of the team, and today we've got Becca, our controller, kind of sharing with us some of her secret sauce and really how to grow and maintain the relationship of having a virtual assistant in your team. I do want to bring up, we've written a book. It's called Scaling Your Business with Mod Virtual Professionals. Now, when we first started with Adam Hergenrother and his team, they were doing 300-400 transactions. Today, they're doing several thousands. They've got multiple business lines. He's speaking and coaching, and he has a very expansive team. So they are the perfect poster child for what we're talking about when you think of scaling your business. And if you stay here until the end, I want to make sure that everybody has a copy of this book because we put 13 years of our heart and soul into this particular book. Let's jump back in. We were talking about your position with the company and how you're the controller. So let's start there and rock and roll.
Yeah. So as the controller, my role is to really manage all the finances for our 20 some odd locations. So I do all the budgeting, all the check cutting. I do all the updating, reporting, and I do a lot of the human resources for HergGroup as well. So we've got 30 some odd employees across 20 some odd states. And so I do all the banking, all the financials, all the profit and loss statements and all of that. So that's my role with HergGroup.
Wow.
And I coach. I coach a lot of our leaders as well.
That's awesome. What are you coaching your leaders in, just so we have an idea of what you're up to?
Yeah, so I think it's what we call conscientious coaching. It's part of Adam Hergenrother Training Organization's coaching program. And it's really based on what does each individual person need at the time and looking at them holistically and taking their business and their personal life and their finances and their goals and really all mapping it into one coaching program that covers them as a whole human. A lot of times people will coach you on just real estate or just finance or just health. And our goal in conscientious coaching is really to just take the whole human and really humanize that experience and train them and coach them as a full person and seeing how all the little dots connect to help them become successful, because you can't climb a mountain if you don't know you're climbing a mountain. You might give up because you don't know you're climbing a mountain. But if I show you that that's one step in front of the other will get you up a mountain, then we can work towards getting you up to your goals, over your obstacles and things like that.
And I know that's a big part of your guys' brand. It's part of your culture, your brand, what you guys do for everyone in your organization. How have you guys translated that to your virtual assistants with My Outdesk?
Yeah, so any training that we have in our organization is open to our VAs. So if you're a virtual assistant in our organization and we're running a training class that you want to attend, hop on. Yeah. You don't have to put in extra hours. You don't have to be unpaid for that time. If we're going to pour into our staff that way, like our stateside staff, that's the same for you as a virtual assistant in our company. So what I would say is there's no difference in our organization from being what we call a stateside employee to being a virtual assistant.
Yep.
You are given the same benefits. So training is one of those benefits. Coaching is one of those benefits. All of our VAs coach with our director of client care. So she meets with them at least once a week. There's group meetings that they're on as well.
Yep.
So, you know, if you are on our team, coaching applies, training applies, and also we send them to ModCon too. So your annual event for virtual assistants that happens in the Philippines, we send them if they want to go. We will help them to go to ModCon too.
I love it. And ModCon, for everybody that's listening, we do 2 events a year, and as a company, and what we want to do, because we are virtual, and we always try to run contests and have like games and throughout the year, but ModCon is the one place that we have over 1,200 people every year converge in one resort. We run trainings, we do team building activities, we eat a meal together. We have bands come, and the idea is it's 100% for our virtual professionals to meet everybody, to know who their folks are on their team, and really build that in-person relationship, which is so powerful and so positive for our people, so that when we're virtual, we know who each other, we just know each other, right? So I love that you guys are doing that. I wanted to also, you said that you don't treat them any differently. So I want to dive into that, because this is a VA relationship conversation. It's like how to actually cultivate that relationship, have them part of the team, and have your business be able to grow and scale with a virtual team. So what are some things that you guys do to keep them kind of connected?
So our company has unlimited vacation and sick. So we don't monitor people's hours. And if you need to take some time off and you need to go do something with your baby, everybody stateside, you just have to get your job done, and you can modify your schedule. Same thing goes for our VAs. If you need to take your child to the doctor, if you're having a baby that's sick, or you don't feel good, take the time off, and you can remove, you can find another time or do a little extra hours tomorrow, whatever that looks like. So that's one. We are not going to penalize someone for having a sick family member or things like that, or just because they're hourly for us. I don't say you have to work 8 to 4. If you need to work 7 to 2, or you need to work off hours, that's fine. It's just about getting the tasks done and being communicative. So that's number one.
Well, hold on. I want to break that down, because Becca, you were the number 2 employee there. So you understand what it's like to have a small team. And many of our clients, about half of them, are running small, the husband-wife teams, or they've got 1 or 2 team members. The other half are large teams like you guys. So when you're small, how do you build that? How do you make it so that people can have a flexible, when you're like, as the owner, maybe I need you, or in your case, maybe I need, where'd you go? You jumped out. So how do you do that when you're a medium or small business?
So I think my answer to that is actually really simple. You have to create an environment where your virtual assistant wants your business to succeed as much as you do. So if you are showing them that it is their business, it is our business, it is our team, you are part of our company, we value you in the same way that you hopefully value us, it happens organically. What I see what the breakdown is when I employ you because it is cheaper for me to have you. And that is a lot of the reason why people use virtual assistants, is there's this cheaper mentality. Therefore, because we pay less, we can treat them differently. And I don't agree. I don't agree, because these people that we hire have stayed with us 6, 7, 8 years.
Yep.
And they don't want to leave. So what we're doing works because they want to stay with us. They're not unhappy. They very rarely will you have to do an intervention on our part at all with our people. We do it all on our own. We don't need mods to have a conversation with our people. We don't need you guys to do that for us, because we've invested in them. They know it's their business, our business, we're in business. And if you treat everyone the way you would treat someone if they were like, we also hide behind email a lot. So when you have a virtual staff, you email them, or you ping them on Slack, or you send them a voice note, or, you don't really get face to face or arm to arm with them. It's really easy to send off hateful, harsh, mean things over the internet, because you have to look that person in the face every day.
Yeah.
Well, we do a Zoom. So we are looking at you. We are looking at your face. We're delivering
Right.
information in a way that I can see if it hurt you, or I can see if you're sad. I can see if you're mad.
Right.
And that changes how you work with someone when you're able to be belly to belly with them. And that is how I believe, even in a small company, actually even better in a small company, because you can spend more time with this person.
Yeah.
That you can invest more in them when you're smaller too. You give them extra time because they're all you have. And
Yep.
if they're all you have, you'll give them more of your time.
Well, I love it because you basically jumped into our next piece of this conversation, the VA relationship, where systems have a big part in the conversation. You mentioned Slack, Zoom, chat, voice, maybe a text message. What are all, I mean, I'm assuming that's primarily your communication channels. Is there anything else? Like, how do you communicate, performance? How do you monitor, whether they're doing a great job? I guess, what are the systems that you use to help manage the VA relationship?
So typically what I will also say is one leader for your VA is probably pretty key. What I see a lot of times is VAs will be given 15 people that they report to, and people can't understand why they're confused. Well,
right.
I report to 15 people or I'd be confused. So
Right.
I don't know why we think just because they don't work in our room that they're not going to have the same basic needs that we all have. So start with one point of administrative contact. Who is going to do their evaluation? Who's going to give them critical feedback? Who's going to be their go-to when something isn't working, they need to ask a question.
Right.
So I think first and foremost, give them a person, give them a who. That's number one. And then also working on, you can't just always deliver them bad information. So, if you're doing a good job, I tell you. If you're doing a okay job, I tell you and I give you a solution. If there's a continual issue, we'll do the same thing we would do with any other employee. We'll put you on a PIP plan, a personal improvement plan. We'll teach you, we'll show you, we'll train you. Whatever we would do to a new hire, we'll do with you. So
yeah.
I think that's the big key, is one person. And then the next thing is going to be, you can't always just tell them the bad stuff. You have to praise people, learn what's their love language. What fills their pockets is, for one of our people, Carissa, kind words go 100 miles with Carissa. Yep. 100 miles. Whereas time off for one of our VAs was the biggest thing we could ever give her. Yep. Understanding that she had a baby was the biggest thing we could give her. So what's their love language? What's the way to win with them? And learning those things and then navigating them accurately with each person through one person.
Yeah. Well, and I think you guys, due to your size, they also feel like a team together, right? The virtual team, so they have a lot of resources, and I would almost say like a buddy in your business. Another thing that we help clients do is there's always a boss, a direct report. There's typically a job description or an outcome. And then you want to give them into a feedback loop where you're talking to them on a regular basis and providing them, solutions, like you said. But another thing that people overlook is just a buddy, somebody in the place that they can hey, this happened to me and I can't believe it. What did you do when that happened? And a non-direct report buddy, When
we were small, we would do that with my outdesk. So if we only had one VA, we would use our connection at my outdesk to do that. Yep. And we would say, okay, hey Mexi, how do we convey this in a way that better makes sense? Because we're not getting through. Yes. What is this? And Mexi would help us. Mexi would step in and she'd talk to them. And then she'd say, I just needed to word it more what they're used to hearing here. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Can you teach me how to do that so I can do that? Now that we're bigger, one of our VAs, Carissa, who's been with us the longest, and I think she was on your last video, that if people want to watch the series, you can meet Carissa. She's now our lead VA. She's training and consulting our other VAs. So she's had a growth opportunity in our organization too, where now we're training her for leadership and giving her more skills and responsibilities. But now that we have an internal buddy, right? So she's been with us long enough and been through all the transitions with us that she can do that coaching and consulting with our folks.
Yeah. What would it, what's cool about that is, you mentioned our customer service team. So every new client, when they come in, they get like not a buddy, but somebody in our organization who can help you navigate the cultural differences. One thing that our clients don't naturally know when they first start is our culture is me, 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 me. I won, I'm the guy or the gal in your case who's doing it, right? That's our culture. In the Philippines, the number one thing is the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about we than I. And so that's a huge cultural difference. I mean, we've had people like go, "Oh, I totally get it," when they hear that. So it's a really important thing. There is a cultural difference. We have folks that'll help you navigate that, but you know, it's fun to learn these things, right?
It is. I think the other thing that we learned very quickly was what we think is obvious, because
Yep.
we've been in real estate for umpteen years,
Mm-hmm.
isn't obvious to everyone.
Right.
So what we had to learn was, when we get a new VA, we're not giving them highly critical thinking opportunities. We're not asking them to critically think and judge and make judgment calls and do things that are non-task related.
Yes.
Now, Corinne is allowed to do that because she's been with us 7 years. And
she's earned the right.
Right. Yeah. Everybody else is pretty checklisted based because they're newer, or that's where they are. And that's actually what the plan is for a lot of your virtual folks, is to start in a more checklist based opportunity, unless they've already been with My Outdesk for a long time, worked in a couple of different teams. But if this is your VA's first experience being a virtual assistant, start them where they can succeed. Don't put them in an opportunity to fail right away. Asking them to understand real estate that you only know because you've been doing it for 15 years.
Well, it's so interesting. It's so great that you're saying this, because we have clients every day. We add about 50 to 75 new virtual assistants to businesses across the US every single month. And we every day talk to somebody and they're like, I need to try this new thing. So we have these guys and they're like, we want to try this new thing and we want your people to do that. I'm like, that's not going to work.
No.
You know, system and process, if you have a system and process in place, if you're willing to document it with video, that's another big win. I don't know if you guys are doing that, but a lot of our clients do the play, pause, do, which is a huge thing. You can record your screen doing the task, share that with them, and now they have a resource so they can hear the what, why, and when to do that task. What else is important?
If you had somebody local, you probably wouldn't release a task to them until you were sure they were proficient in it. But for some reason, we think we can release all these things to our virtual staff without making sure they're proficient in it. So you've got to be inspecting what you expect from them, just like you would any other employee. So I think it's really funny. I don't know why it is. I see this happen in my coaching, and I used to coach people who had virtual staff. I'd say, you also have to own when it's your fault.
Yeah.
Like, did you give this new employee the same time that you would give a person sitting side by side? Probably not, because you can't hear their frustration. You can't see them struggling. So you don't jump in. And that's also a cultural thing too, is the VAs are great about asking for help. They ask a lot of questions, and some people are frustrated by that. That's also their culture, to ask a lot of questions, make sure it's accurate before they start. So you've got to be prepared for what time do you have to have for them when you hire someone new.
Well, and I think that's a big deal. I tell people if you need help right now, like next week, you shouldn't hire a virtual assistant, because there's a learning curve, and it's the first 90 days before you start seeing real value. How long in a position that you guys have, if you hired a new person, how long before you see value in that role? I'm just kind of curious.
So in our newer days, when we were smaller, I with you, it was probably 60 days. They were taking tasks, but we weren't feeling their full benefit for like 90 days.
Right.
What I would say now is, now that we know how to write a checklist for someone who's not in this industry, all of our checklists are built such that anybody can come in now. So we see actually people getting up and running within 30 days, until those weird wonky things that only happen once a quarter or once a year or whatever.
Right.
But in general, we got better. So I think the assumption is that they didn't do well. We got better. Our checklists are better. Our systems are better. Our coaching is better. Our consulting with them is better. We had to get better too. We had to realize how to have virtual staff And now that we know, we get really efficient results earlier than most people because we've been employing people for almost 10 years.
Right.
So now we know. And what we didn't know, we fixed.
Well, what's interesting is I love this, and I'm curious how much of your growth, because you guys have had massive growth since we've been, in this relationship together. How much of your growth do you think is directly tied to the systems and processes and coaching that you guys have? Like, would you say half of it, 3/4, a quarter, or what's the,
with our PA staff or with in general?
Just in general? I think it's important. It's an important point.
Yeah. So I think, so when I first started with HergGroup, we had 4 locations.
Yep.
And I was the only staff. And we had 1 virtual assistant. So a virtual assistant, me, and 4 locations.
Love it.
Now we have 31 staff, 4 VAs, and 20 some of the 22 locations.
Yep.
So the math, I mean, the math's in there in that growth. I mean, from 4 to 22, I mean, that was all systemic. It was all systems. It was all processes. So I would say at least 50% of our growth, at least, has been through systematized growth of our systems, models, and tools, and really a focus on people. About 5 years ago, we just started hiring both virtual talent and stateside talent at a different level. It became less about experience or output and really looking at culture fits. And all of our virtual staff right now are culture fits. They work really hard. And I'm being honest, if they are scheduled to work 12 hours and they have to work 14, they don't care.
Yeah.
They'll put those extra 2 hours. They don't care. Not because we ask them to, but because they care to. And that's the culture fit we're looking for in any employee, whether virtual or stateside.
Right. What, for people that are listening, what advice would you give them to building that VA relationship and integrating them into their work family? What would you say the most important building blocks are for that?
Get to know them personally. I know the names of all of our VA's family members. Or if I don't, someone does. So like Carissa's the one I've worked with the most, so I know a lot about her. But we know their families. We know their situation. So I'll give you another example. The Philippines has some wonky weather. And one day Carissa emailed us, or maybe it wasn't Carissa, it was one of our VAs emailed us and said, we're in the middle of a typhoon and there's some water in my house, so I could be a little delayed. We can't find out. She was sitting on a counter with 16 inches of water still working.
Yes.
And we say, can you be safe and please go somewhere else? Like, take care of you. So get to know them as a whole human, and also get to know their goals, their likes, their and what's important to them, and celebrate them. So we got a really stunning email from Carissa sharing that what her opportunity working for us has been allowed her to do for her family. Yeah. And we share with them what their hard work has been able for us to do for our agents. So we share with them how proud we are of them and what they've allowed us to achieve. We celebrate their wins with them, offer them all the same opportunities, days off, paid days off, raises. We give them raises, just like we would give others. If you've earned it, you get a raise. Yes. And also, if you know them really well, we had one VA that worked for us where all of a sudden she was a rock star. She'd been with us 6 years, and all of a sudden she started dropping the ball a little bit. And so I had a really great conversation with her, and I said, can I be blunt with you? And she said, sure. I said, I don't think you're passionate about this anymore. And she was really hurt and upset. And we ended up replacing her. And she emailed me, Facebooked me about a month later and thanked me profusely because she went and started her own company. And she opened up a restaurant in the Philippines that is a game night where you go and play games in a restaurant. Right. And I couldn't be happier for her. Right. Did I want to lose someone that we had poured 6 years into? Yeah, I did, because I care about her and I cared about her growth as a human being. And I wanted her to be happy. And if she's happier running her own business and we trained her and coached her and helped her get there, I find that a win. I don't own her. I don't own anybody. And people do believe they own virtual staff. We don't own them. We are lucky to have them. And that is truthfully how we feel. We are so lucky to have the 4 VAs we have right now.
I love it. How would you tell somebody to get started? Like, what are the things that you would kind of get prepared to build that VA relationship? Because a lot of our clients come in and just know they need help. I'm like, I'm scrambling. I don't have any time. I need some help. What do you got for me, Daniel? You know, and I'm like, it's one of those challenges. So how would you help one of our people get ready to implement virtual assistants into their business?
That's probably the best question you've asked me, honestly, because the answer is pause. The first thing I'm going to tell you to do is pause and reflect. What do you really want this person to do for you?
Yes.
They can't do your laundry. They can't do, the things that you might want them to do. What is it you really need them and want them to do? Do you have a system built around those things that they can at least execute on? Mm-hmm. If not, you're not ready.
Right.
You're just not. And I'll be honest with you, you have to know what you want them to do first. They got to, and then start there. Then what I want you to do is write it all down if you don't know. Because sometimes if you were to come to Mods and my outdesk and say, hey, I need a VA who can go through my database, comb through it. They need to know Boomtown. They need to know KW systems. You guys can find that person. But if you don't know that's what you need, then you're not going to get the right person. So find what you need, and then maybe someone can help you build the system. But if you don't know what they're going to be doing first, your success partner can't help you find the right virtual assistant for you. So have your job description ready, have it ready, and then be really transparent. I need someone who knows that I'm only going to be able to give them 1 hour a day. I need somebody more experienced or something like that. So I think that would be big, is being able to get success out of someone. You have to get the right someone and the right who. And the more you know about what you want to leverage out and how you work as a human, then I guarantee you my outdesk can find you the right person. You just have to know what you need first.
We're about to wrap up. I really appreciate your time today. If you're listening live and you wanted to ask any questions on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere on our social feeds, do that. We're going to follow up with you. If you're here with us right now and you have a question for Becca, now is the time to throw it in the chat or the questions. And I think what's interesting about this entire process and your position particularly is that finance is always one of those areas that people get nervous about. And so I wanted to get your perspective, because we have a ton of teams. You're a controller, and like the area of controlling money and results and all of that makes people nervous. So I'm curious, what exactly would you have somebody in the finance world help when you're a medium or small business?
Are you ready to take on that expense? Because these are people that you are employing that live off the funds you pay them. Right. So make sure you're ready to keep someone. You have enough work for them, that you're ready. That would be number one. Number two, make sure that the time you're willing to pour in, you're not going to feel bad about monetarily losing doing something else. Right. And then inspect what you expect. If you expect results, inspect them. These are people working for you. You have the right to, a checklist or a results email. Have them. I mean, our VAs send emails every day telling us what they did, reporting where they're at, telling us their successes and failures, telling us how they feel about their job every day. Because we do that because we want to make sure that they're happy, but we also want to make sure we're getting the results from them that we expect. So, and fiscally, I would say, if you are ready to hire someone, but you don't have the time to train someone, or you don't have the time to spend with them, you need to still pause and you find those things first, because this investment is worth every nickel that you're going to spend, because I do believe they'll find you the right person. We've only had one person not work out with us because they were a bad fit, and it was because we didn't have the right job description made up for that person. It was not on the person. It was
in 8 years, one bad person.
I can remember one that we all realized it was a mutual bad fit, and the rest have stuck with us. We've had 6 years, 7 years, 5 years, 6 years, long-term hires for us.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, just make sure you're ready, because it is an investment in time, and time is money, right? So
Right.
you've got to have that money, but you'll get every nickel out of what you're spending. And if I can be even really, really blunt with everybody, I've never seen harder working people than our 4 VAs. These guys are workhorse, power horse workers who love our company and love us. And their commitment is amazing. So I do believe that you will get someone, and MyoDesk will help you find the right person to do that for you.
I love it. We got a question from Facebook, and funny enough, it's exactly the question I wanted to ask you, because you're the controller. So I've been holding on to this, and we did a 3-part for everybody that's listening who maybe just jumped in. We did a 3-part series. So this is a large organization with multiple locations, multiple business lines. So we interviewed multiple leaders within the team, as well as one of their lead virtual professionals on the team. So we got a chance to do all of that, and you can see the whole series on either our YouTube or on our Facebook page. And it's a really good thing, because if you're thinking about long-term building a business with multiple virtual assistants, then this is what you should listen to and kind of wrap your brain around it. But my question, because you're the controller, what's the return on investment really? If you had to hire these folks in the US and you had to support them with benefits and all the things, I mean, we give our people benefits, just to be clear, with vacation time and benefits. But if you had to do it yourself, what do you think the return on investment is?
So I'll give you these numbers. I just did the math because I knew it was coming down to a math question. I was literally writing it down I'm like, oh, this is going to be a math question. So to hire somebody stateside with benefits and all this, with the level of work, and most of our VAs work 12-hour days.
Yep.
5 days a week. Plus they'll throw in overtime, and they really don't care. So most stateside employees wouldn't do that. But so we pay about 18 to 19 grand for a starting out VA yearly, over 40 hours a week.
Yep.
And we give them paid days off. So it's a little higher for us because we give them all the paid days off, and we give them vacations and whatever not. We would pay roughly, if we were to hire them in Vermont, where our home base would be, we're looking at least $30,000 to $40,000 of cost, including health insurance, taxes, and that's hiring an emerging talent, someone who has never been in this industry before. So if we wanted someone with more experience, like when we got Carissa had experience in this field, it would be different. So we're seeing at least a $20,000 per hire savings per VA.
So it's a 50 to 60%, and that's not factoring in the need for an office. You'd have to buy them. Yeah, you'd have to buy them a laptop and
computers,
phones.
laptop.
Yep. You start throwing that stuff in.
And like the HR stuff. So MyoDesk does all of the payroll, the HR stuff. The other thing is the legalities of hiring someone out of the country and using. You never know what you're going to get. You don't know where your money's going. There's all kinds of legalities of your own business, and what it would cost you to do hire VAs or hire stateside staff. So, and then we didn't even factor in results. So most stateside employees would struggle in the role that we put our VAs in, because it is so task-based. It is literally like database management, task-basing. And a lot of people don't love those jobs. And so our VAs love this work, and they're happy with it. And they're so thankful for what we give and do with them that is enough. That is not normally how you have employees in a job like this. We'd have to throw in growth opportunities that have to be places to move up, raises, step ups, travel, lots of different things that, while we would be happy to give them to a stateside employee, and we do, the turnover rate, I think, would be way higher. I don't think anybody in stateside would stay in this role 6 years like we get the VA.
So it's basically it's helped you grow and scale your business, not had turnover in a very important role, and all the while saved you 50, maybe up to 70% when you add in all the extra stuff.
Yeah, at least 50 for sure. And you got to remember, we have 4 people.
Yeah, I love it.
So,
So if you're listening right now, we're going to wrap up. Really appreciate you being here, Becca. If you're listening, I told you at the beginning we'd give away a free copy of the book. We've linked all of our social channels in the notes. So if you wanted to watch previous interviews, you can check them out. But to get the book, all you have to do is text SVP, so Scale with Virtual Professionals, to 31996, and we'll get you a free copy. It's an electronic copy. You can buy it on Amazon if you'd like. The notes are right there in the recording. Becca, thank you so much for your time. What one thing would you like to leave the audience with, or how would you like to end today? And thank you again so much. I know your time is really valuable. Really appreciate how you love and care, and you create these relationships with these virtual professionals and really change their lives. That's what's so impressive about you guys.
And actually, there's two things I'll end with. Number one, I'm sorry for my technology. So there's three things. One, I'm sorry for my technology. Two, I'm going to change my vernacular. I love virtual professional way better than virtual assistant. And I'm going to bring that home to our team. I love it, and I'm going to use it. And I think we should adapt to that. Yep. And then lastly, I would love for you to contact me if you don't believe, or you have questions, or you think I'm BSing you or something, because I'm not paid to be here. I choose to be here. Becca at HergGroup, BECCA at Herg, 2 G's, HergGroup.com. I'm happy to talk with you more. Let you know let us know what we can help you do, or learn, or whatever you need to know about real estate, our virtual professionals, whatever that is that I can help with. I'd be glad to do it. So thank you for having me, and thank you for introducing 4 amazing, well, actually it's been more than 4, but right now it's these 4 amazing people we have in our life.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Becca. Thank you again. And guys, we definitely do a consultation. I want to make sure you know that, and thank you, Becca, for offering that help. If you do an hour-long conversation with us and you get like your systems, your process, we'll go through everything that you need in order to make it work. And then if you want to talk to Becca, I would definitely make that connection for you guys. And we just really
We've done it. We've done it. They're great. Those consultations are amazing.
Well, what happens is we ask the question, how would you double your business?
Yep.
And who do you need on your team, and what changes do you need to have in terms of systems and processes? That question changes your entire perspective as an entrepreneur. So definitely come and do those consultations. We love on our clients. We love on our people, and we just like to be involved and help people scale and grow their businesses. Becca, thanks again for being here. We really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay.